Hello guys, and welcome to the first video here on the kind of rebrand of the channel. Yeah, I'm just basically going to change this kind of to James Talks Sports. Not Talk Sport, but Talks Sports. Yeah, I don't know, I just don't feel like making Reading content as much as I used to. And I have a lot of opinions on a load of different sports that are going on. As you can tell from the title of this video, there is a huge fight coming up this weekend. UFC 229, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor. I'm a massive UFC fan, have been since I can remember. All the way back in the day, Matt Hughes, Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, Anderson Silva, all the old boys. Yeah, and it's something that I've followed. Friends know that I followed. Twitter followers know that I've followed for a very long time. So yeah, I just kind of want to give my thoughts and predictions coming up on this card. That is going to be coming up on Saturday/Sunday morning. It's stacked from top to bottom, to say the least. You know, you got the likes of Yana Kunitskaya headlining the Fight Pass Prelims. Gray Maynard's down there. The Fox Sports Prelims, Sergio Pettis is there. Vincent Luquier, who I quite like. Aspen Ladd. Alan Patrick. We've got some good names on this card. So yeah, we'll start off just with the Fight Pass Prelims. Obviously everyone's who is from the channel, that's subscribed from Red and Away Days, probably already knows about Conor and Khabib. So yeah, I'll get into that one in a little bit. But yeah, I just want to run through the Fight Pass and the Fox Sports Prelims just to kick it off. So first fight of the evening, we've got Ryan LaFleur and Tony Martin. LaFleur coming off that unanimous decision win over Alex Garcia. And we've got Tony Martin, who's coming into this fight with the win over Kita Nakamura. I'm going to go with Tony Martin to get the win. Yeah, I'm not going to go into too in-depth on these because, well, let's face it, we're only really here for the main card. We then got the next fight. We've got Gray Maynard and Nick Lentz, two interesting veterans of the UFC. Obviously, Gray Maynard lost to Ryan Hall, but then come back and had a dominant victory. And now is obviously coming up against Nick Lentz, who lost his last fight to... who was it? Give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you. Nick Lentz lost to David Tamer. So yeah, David Tamer got the win in that last one. But yeah, it's an interesting fight. Nick Lentz is... maybe still has a bit to give, but I'm going to go with Gray Maynard to get the win. We then got Yana Kunitskaya taking on Alina Landsberg. Obviously Kunitskaya ended up losing to Cyborg in her last fight. But I feel like she'll get the win on this one. Lightweight, we got Scott Holtzman and Alan Patrick. Alan Patrick who could get the win on this one. He's 35 years old now though, so getting on a bit. But 3 wins out of his last 3, can't complain about that. Then got Aspen Ladd and Tonya Evinger. Tonya Evinger, another one of them ones that ended up fighting Cyborg. I think she did anyway. Yeah, lost to Cyborg at UFC 214 for the featherweight belt. Yeah, going to go with Aspen Ladd though to get the win. Unbeaten, undefeated. Obviously missed weight in her last fight. Didn't actually go through with it. So yeah, could be interesting to see if she can make the weight on this one. Then we got Vincent Luquier versus Jalin Turner. Going to go with Luquier to get the win. And then we're headlining at the Fox Sports Prelims with Sergio Pettis taking on Jussier Formiga. Very interesting fight is this one. I'm going to go with Pettis though to get the win. So kicking off the main card, the pay-per-view, we've got Michelle the Karate Hottie Watterson. She's going to be taking on Felice Herring. I'm very interested in this fight. Obviously Michelle Watterson coming off a split decision win over Courtney Casey in her last fight. And we had Felice Herring getting a unanimous decision loss against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I like Watterson and I like Herring. I think they're two decent fighters. But I'm going to go with Michelle Watterson to get the win in this one. I feel like maybe her stand-up skills might be a little bit too much for Herring. Obviously, both women back in the day were on, I think it was Fight Girls, all the way back in the day where they followed Muay Thai women's fighters and put them all in a house. Kind of like a women's Ultimate Fighter back in the day before women's MMA was massive. So yeah, that was all the way back there. So yeah, back then Watterson was at atom weight, I think then, and obviously Herring straw weight. Yeah, and they're both now at strawweight, so yeah, we're getting that fight. Obviously, so many years in the making. They've been kind of two veterans around the scenes of women's fighting for a long time. We then got a heavyweight contest. We got Derek the Black Beast Lewis. He's going to be taking on Alexander Volkov. Yeah, another huge heavyweight contender fight. I think this one's probably going to be the #1 contender fight in the division. We got Derek Lewis coming off that win over Francis Ngannou, where it wasn't his greatest performance and it wasn't the greatest fight, but he got the win nevertheless, despite pulling his back out, which he said multiple times that he pulled his back out during fight camp. I don't know whether it was fight week or camp. I haven't done loads of research. I just kind of sat down and gone, right, I'm doing this. And then you've got Drago, Alexander Volkov, obviously coming off the win over Fabricio Verdum. I like Volkov, but I also like Derek Lewis, so it's going to be a bit of a hard one to split. I think Derek Lewis, his conditioning is the only thing that he needs to mega work on. Granted, his wrestling isn't fantastic, his get-ups are good. And then you've got Volkov on the other side, who we've seen in the UFC not really put a foot wrong. Obviously coming off that massive win over Fabricio Verdum. He then had the stoppage win as well over Stefan Struve. I think he beat Timothy Johnson as well in his debut. So Volkov's come here, the former Bellator champ as well, and he's looked really strong. If I had to make an official prediction, I'm going to go with... It's hard because Derek Lewis, if you think about it, going into the Ngannou fight, I also do a podcast, the MMA Flashback, which we haven't done for a while, but I'll put that in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to the archives. But yeah, Derek Lewis, I said going into that fight, has felt the power of Mark Hunt, and it took Mark Hunt 4 rounds to beat him. So the fact that he took that power for so long, and then it took him to the 4th round, or was it the 5th, to end up getting beat. Whereas Ngannou, he only tested himself really against older men. Well, older fighters. And I gave Lewis the edge in that, and I said Lewis will come out on top. Lewis came out on top. He didn't really get phased by the power. Alexander Volkov is a massive opponent. Height-wise, I think he's 6'7", 6'8". And Derek Lewis is not in the greatest of shape. But he's also a top heavyweight. He has to cut to make the 265 as well, whereas I feel like Volkov doesn't. So I'm going to go with Alexander Volkov to get the decision on this one. Yeah, I'm going to give Volkov the nod. The next fight is a light heavyweight contest. We've got Reyes Vs St Preux coming off another Von Preux choke win over, I think it was Tyson Pedro last time out. He's going to be taking on Dominic Reyes, an unbeaten light heavyweight prospect. Dominic Reyes is one of these guys who I tipped for success in 2018. Earlier on in the year, over on the MMA Flashback website, I've created a list of the top 5 fighters to watch out for in 2018. Who was number 1 on that list? Mr. Dominic Reyes. So yeah, Dominic Reyes is someone who I have had on my radar for a long time. He's someone who I've looked at and thought he is going to be potentially a top contender in the UFC, and this could be the fight that makes him fighting a top 10 ranked opponent in Reyes Vs St Preux, fighting against someone who's formerly fought for a light heavyweight championship. And I feel like this could be the fight that makes Dominic Reyes. On the other hand, you've got Reyes Vs St Preux, who every time people write him off, he comes back and looks even better than ever. Recently though, he's had a few knockout losses here and there, so that kind of could be the end of the chin of Reyes Vs St Preux, but I'm still going to go with Reyes to get the win. I think he's finished every fight as well that he's been in, so yeah, I'm going to go with Reyes again to get the victory. Moving in then to the co-main event is another fight which is very interesting in the landscape of the lightweight division. We've got Anthony Showtime Pettis taking on the former interim champion in Tony Ferguson. Obviously Pettis, a former UFC lightweight champion, pre-USADA days. I'm not accusing him of anything, but I'm just saying this is before everything happened. Pettis is one of these guys that is a confidence fighter. If he's there, if he's got the confidence, he is one of the best in the world. If he's down, if he's not motivated, sometimes I feel like Pettis isn't as great of a fighter. Going into this one, Tony Ferguson is obviously coming off a layoff. Last fighting against Kevin Lee way back when, I think it was July last year, just before the Las Vegas shooting, whenever that was. I think it was a year ago last week, so potentially around about this time last year. So it's probably been one of the longest layoffs of Tony Ferguson's career. Obviously he'd done his leg leading up to the Khabib fight in April. Yeah, I'm going to go with Tony Ferguson to get the win though. I think this is an interesting fight because if Anthony Pettis catches him, it could be lights out for Tony. Because Tony Ferguson likes to get hit in his fights. He doesn't really have much of a defensive game plan. Whereas if Anthony Pettis catches you, that could be all over. It could be it. So yeah, it's a real interesting one. It's hard to split. I think it's closer fight than a lot of people were saying. So I'm going to go with Tony Ferguson either way to get the win. I'll go with sub in the 3rd round. But I feel like Pettis is going to put a great fight, and I feel like this is going to be the fight of the night. And then finally, the main event, the one that everyone is watching. Khabib Nurmagomedov is taking on Conor McGregor for the UFC Lightweight Championship. Now, coming into this one, McGregor hasn't been inside of an octagon for 2 years, but he has been training, he has been active, he has been fighting, obviously, with the boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. This fight is huge for the UFC. It's going to be a big pay-per-view. It's going to, obviously, I feel like it's going to break the records. Recently, UFC's pay-per-view numbers have been dreadful. I mean, even a big champ versus champ fight with DC v Stipe didn't even break 500k. So coming into this one, I feel like this is UFC thinking, right, we've got the big banker, we've got McGregor back, we've got Khabib, who has quite a big following as well. And I feel like this is going to be a 2 mil pay-per-view. I feel like they're just going to go under or just on it. Yeah, so that is that going into that one. But in terms of the fight, it's a massive fight for the UFC. You've got Khabib's grappling, you've got McGregor striking. That's the big questions coming into this one. Will McGregor deal with Khabib's grappling, or will McGregor be able to deal with will Khabib be able to deal with McGregor's stand-up, and will McGregor be able to deal with Khabib's grappling? I'm torn. I have visions of McGregor coming in, Khabib coming in for the takedown, McGregor uppercutting him, but then I can also see McGregor just getting absolutely mauled for 5 rounds straight. My official prediction, I'm going to go with Khabib to get a submission in round 4. But at the same time, I could easily see McGregor coming in and just doing McGregor things, standing up, defending all the takedowns, working him on the feet. But if I'm honest, I see Khabib getting him down to the ground. I see him being relentless with the takedown attempts. I see the first couple not working, and then maybe Joe Rogan and John Anik and Dominic Cruz, who's going to be commentating. I see them maybe going, oh, is McGregor going to be able to stand up? But I think Khabib's just going to be so relentless. He'll get him in the clinch. And I feel like he'll ragdoll him a few times. And then we'll start to see McGregor tire. And then we'll start to see what happens with McGregor in a usual scenario where McGregor gets a little bit tired and the adversity gets a little bit on him. And I see Khabib coming in and getting that submission. I see him winning by Kimura in the 4th round. Kind of the same way he beat Michael Johnson. I see him talking to McGregor as well the whole time, which I feel like is going to be interesting, because McGregor likes to talk to opponents and Khabib likes to talk to opponents. So really interested to see that one. So yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, whether you think McGregor will win, or whether you think Khabib will win, and whether you think Tony or Pettis will win. Yeah, really interested to find out your guys' thoughts. So yeah, that does it for my little preview / predictions for UFC 229, live from Las Vegas in, I believe it's the T-Mobile Arena. So yeah, that does it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. I've been James, and we'll hope to see you guys next time. Thank you very much. Peace.